I'm sure you've seen this in the movies. It's called Russian Roulette. It's a game that everyone knows, yet no one dares to play. And it's all because of one emotion. Fear. There's fear in every turn, every spin of the cylinder, and of course, every pull of the trigger. And that fear is the one thing everyone gets wrong. Let me explain. You've probably seen companies or content creators make their own version of Russian Roulette, turning a game that normally puts a hole in a family into fun for the whole family. But by boiling down the punishment to a simple dart or balloon, they remove the level of fear and hesitation that Russian Roulette is known for. So I'm going to do the world a favor and fix that by combining Russian Roulette with modern technology to bring that fear back, without killing myself. We need a gun, but not a real one, because my ability to handle a firearm is about as good as Kurt Cobain, and unfortunately, I don't want to meet him right now, which means we're gonna have to settle for a revolver that won't send us to Nirvana, and to get one, I see two paths. I could either learn how to 3D model and print one out, raising my competitive rank on a watch list somewhere, or slip Jeff some 20s and ask for a favor. And ultimately, I decided against printing it, because I assume the line between printing a toy and manufacturing a firearm has probably blurred ever since Luigi printed out a suppressed 9mm vacuum cleaner. Allegedly. So after waiting 2 days to receive Bezos' blessing and making sure the bullets aren't real to avoid pulling an Alec Baldwin, we can now start working on the electronics. In a real game of Russian Roulette, the punishment is delivered right when the bullet leaves the barrel, and if we're gonna match that, we'll need something to detect these tiny foam darts. My first thought is to use an IR brake beam, which is basically an invisible laser tripwire. It works by sending out a beam of infrared light to a receiver, and if something blocks or breaks that beam, the receiver will detect it. Which sounds like the perfect option, especially since it's fast, cheap, and reliable. But here's what I actually made. I call it taping 2 wires to the end of the barrel and covering the bullet in aluminum foil. It's very fast, very cheap, and probably not very reliable. Kinda like me. The way this works is essentially the complete opposite of the IR brake beam idea, because instead of trying to find a broken connection, like the one in your last relationship, we're going to try to make a connection by having the foil contact these 2 wires. Then this microcontroller will detect that connection and send a Bluetooth message to my laptop that's going to handle whatever punishments we come up with. At least that's how it should work. So to sanity check my insanity, we're going to load this up and fire a few darts. You can see that after each shot, this LED lights up, telling us that the dart got detected and that a Bluetooth message was sent, which means our detection system works, and we can move on to the fun part, the punishment. The goal of our punishments is to increase fear without decreasing the world population. So to get some inspiration, I got some information on methods of interrogation from an organization with a reputation for manipulation, intimidation, and allegations of assassination. The CIA. But specifically, we're looking at CIA torture tactics, which is basically a government form of a college hazing. These tactics are specially designed to mentally destroy someone while keeping them mostly functional, which is exactly what we want. Maybe that's just me. A few of these tactics include loud sounds, bright lights, electroshock therapy, and of course the classic waterboarding. All of which violate the Geneva Conventions in one form or another, meaning that, under the right conditions, our version of Russian Roulette can be considered a war crime just like its father. So to make this less of a war crime, I'm only going to pick 3 of them, tone them down, and toss in a special punishment of my own. And to start us off, the first tactic we'll be using is sound, which all we need to do is import some Python libraries here, draw the rest of the fucking owl there, and we have our sound. But we don't want some dinky little air horn to treat Russian Roulette like it's an MLG trick shot. This is supposed to be a serious game with serious consequences, which means we need a sound to change this game's death wish to a death wish. And the best sound suited for the job is none other than a flashbang. They're bright as shit, loud as fuck, and specially designed to give me handicap benefits for less than a minute. But that's if we were using real flashbangs, and obviously, we're not.
Holy shit.
So the best we can do is simulate it by playing multiple flashbang sounds as loud as we can without giving ourselves permanent hearing damage, which, in case you were wondering, is around 140 decibels according to OSHA, because clearly we care more about that than potentially violating international law. Right, Russian Roulette sound test in 3, 2, 1. Oh shit! Ah, fuck. So my laptop at max volume with these two speakers cranked up to max hit around 97.4 decibels, which is honestly good enough for me when it comes to sound. But I am kind of disappointed that right now, this flashbang is all bang and no flash, but we're gonna fix that with the next punishment, light. Surprisingly, the original intent of this tactic isn't to blind the target, or victim depending on whose side you're on. Its main purpose is to actually change someone's perception of time and induce some negative side effects, mainly sleep deprivation. And you do this by keeping bright lights fixed on someone for a few hours, days, or even months if you're in a Mr. Beast video. But there are 3 problems with this approach. I'm already sleep deprived, we don't have a few hours, and this isn't a Mr. Beast video. The punishment only lasts up to a minute, so the best way to maximize the misery is by flashing you. Multiple times, but not in the way you'd probably like. To flash us, I bought these 250-watt LED floodlights that can be controlled using either this remote or this shitty Bluetooth phone app. Ah, but what am I? Some infant on an iPad? I'm not gonna sit there pressing buttons in one hand while I practically close my eyes and try to fork an outlet with the other. We need to automate this, and the best way to do that is by talking to the lights directly over Bluetooth. You see, the Bluetooth connection on these lights have about as much security as TwitchCon, which is practically none at all. This means that if you open up the app, start pressing buttons, and dump your phone's Bluetooth logs into something like Wireshark, you can see the raw bytes of data that command the lights to turn on and off. And if we write some code to connect to those lights and send that same data we found using our laptop, we can now flashbang ourselves at the pull of a trigger. Oh fuck! And we can actually use this same process to help us with the next tactic, electrocution. Well, kinda. You see, we're not actually electrocuting someone in the traditional sense, like you see in movies, games, or TV shows. Not because they're dangerous or anything, it's just that I don't want to be the next Jigsaw. Yet. So, unfortunately, we're just gonna have to downgrade to the Temu version using this. It's called a TENS unit, and they're normally used to treat pain using electrical pulses that cause your muscles to relax or contract. But under the right conditions, they can also be used to inflict pain, or stun lock the elderly. And this unit in particular happens to be controlled via Bluetooth, which, shockingly, pun intended, also has no security. Which means we can just repeat the same process like we did for the lights to connect to them and send commands to these 4 units, 2 for my arms and 2 for my legs. So when a bullet gets detected, we can turn the units up to max and have them stay on until a random number between 1 and 10 flashbangs go off. Now you might be asking, Adam, why a random number? Because part of the fear is not knowing when the pain is gonna end. You see, if the player knew they only need to last for 3 flashbangs, then there's no need to hope for it to end, they just know it's going to end. But if I give them a range and tell them good luck, they'll be left hoping every step of the way that the next flashbang is the last flashbang. Oh fuck! And with that, all of our CIA-inspired punishments are now done. But I do have one last thing I need to add. You see, right now we're only dealing physical damage and psychological damage. And in this day and age, that isn't enough, because if you're like me, you've probably learned how to cope with both. So to up the stakes a little bit more, we're gonna add in one more type of damage. Financial. To do this, we're gonna need a Bluetooth speaker, a device with Amazon Alexa, and this month's rent. The idea is that when I get hit, my laptop will send a message to this speaker to tell Alexa to buy a tungsten cube, which sounds like a really dumb fucking solution. And that's because it is.
Hey Alexa. Can you please add classic Bop It to the cart?
One moment. Okay.
Check out the cart.
Do you want to buy now?
Yes, 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 yes.
Order placed.
That's so fucking stupid. You see, Amazon has some protections against automated purchases that prevents us from using the more direct methods. And the only possibly legal alternative I could think of is to use an Alexa, since voice purchases are an accessibility feature. Which is perfect, because I'm sure this game is going to make me temporarily handicapped anyway. But there is a slight downside with this solution, and it's that Alexa needs to hear the request loud and clear. And believe it or not, me screaming at the top of my lungs while I get flashbanged repeatedly is probably not going to help. So we're just going to have to put these in another room while I suffer the consequences of my own actions. And bing bang boom, we now have a version of Russian Roulette that deals physical, emotional, and financial damage. The only thing left for me to do now is to test my luck. And by luck, I mean I hope I get away with one flashbang. This is gonna hurt. Right, first shot in 3, 2, 1. First chamber's clear. Second chamber's clear.
Hey Alexa. Can you please put a tungsten? It's $22.08. Visit your card.
How many fucking flashbangs? What, did you really think I was crazy enough to spend thousands of dollars on a tungsten cube? Please, if I was gonna waste money, I'd rather be playing the other roulette and betting it all on 17 black. Anyway, I lied to you. Well, kind of. You see, as I was setting up to record the video, I actually had the game active and the TENS units on me, and that's when tragedy struck. I accidentally touched tips. Let me rephrase that. I accidentally had the wires on the revolver touch tips, which proceeded to stun lock the ever-living shit out of me for 3 flashbangs. And that's when I realized I had absolutely no control over my arms. So I ended up changing the shock level from the max level of 10 down to a 7, just so that way I can control my arms in case of an emergency. Which really just goes to show that none of you should try this at home because mistakes can happen. But aside from that mistake, I think this project turned out pretty well, and surprisingly, it could actually make for a pretty good party game if I changed up some of the punishments. But anyway, thanks for watching to the end of the video. If you like the video, then like it. If you like content like this, then consider subscribing, especially since I don't really have an upload schedule. So I'll see you next year. Probably.